Alright, we're back with adding and subtracting rational expressions. I'm going to start with number 13. We need to get a common denominator. To get a common denominator, we are going to multiply the first fraction by the denominator of the second fraction. So that one will go here. We'll have 2 over 3 times v minus 3 over v minus 3 plus the second fraction times the denominator of the first one. When we do that, we'll get 2v minus 6, so that's just multiplying this 2, times 3 over v minus 3, plus 3 times 3 is 9 over 3 times v minus 3. Now we just have to add straight across the top because the denominators are the same. So we still have a 2v, and then negative 6 plus 9 is plus 3 over 3 times v minus 3. Alright, there's no greatest common factors here that I can see that we could divide out. So this is going to be our simplified answer. We're going to skip over 14 and 15. 15 has a common denominator already, so you just add those. And 16, I think, is harder than 14, so at least I'm doing the hard one. So what we're going to do on 16 is, first we can factor out anything we can factor out from the denominator, because that's going to help us realize what we need to multiply each fraction by. So in the first one, we can factor out a 4. And what can we factor out of the second one? We can factor out an 8, right? And that leaves us with x minus 2. Okay, so we have 4 times x minus 2 and 8 times x minus 2. So if I multiply this 4 by 2, I'll have exactly the same denominator. So that means I need to multiply this first fraction by 2 over 2. When I do that, I'll get 2x plus 4 over 8 times x minus 2 minus 3x over 8 times x minus 2. So it's 2x minus 3x, so it's negative x plus 4 over 8 times x minus 2. Alright, let's go to another problem. I'll do number 17. So number 17, again, we are going to multiply the first denominator, or the first fraction, by the denominator of the second, and the second by the denominator of the first. So we will have 3r over r plus 1 times r minus 2 over r minus 2 plus 3 over r minus 2 times r plus 1 over r plus 1. So 3r times r, that's 3r squared. 3r times negative 2 is a negative 6r, and that's over r plus 1 times r plus 2. That is being added to 3 times r plus 3 times 1 over r plus 1 times r minus 2. There should be a minus sign. My apologies. R minus 2. Now we add right across the top and we combine like terms. We'll get 3r squared, negative 6r plus 3r. It's going to be a negative 3r. And then sorry, my computer froze, but I'm back. Over r plus 1 times r minus 2. Now, if we wanted to be completely sure that this was simplified, we could factor the numerator and make sure that we don't have any common factors. I don't have a whole lot of space here. I'll do that out to the side maybe. And so if I were factoring the numerator, I'd factor out a 3. And then I need factors of -1 that add up to, or factors of +1 that add up to -1. I can't do that, so I can't factor it, which means that this is my simplified answer. Let's skip number 18 and go to 19 on this one. And then I'll finish up with 21 and 22. Okay, so in number 19, first things first, let's factor the denominator of both of these to see what we need to multiply by. So on this first one, we can factor out a 2 right away. We'll have 3x squared plus 7x plus 2. So if we multiply the first by the second, or the first by the last, so 3 times 2, we get 6. So we need factors of 6 that add up to the middle term, 7. That sounds like 1 and 6. Okay, so I'm going to factor this, and I'm going to do a method called bottoms up. It's a very valuable method. And let's see what we can do here. Whoops. Alright, so if the leading coefficient was 1, we're going to write our factors as if the leading coefficient were 1. We'll have x, and then x, and our two factors, 1 and 6, plus 1, plus 6. But our leading coefficient wasn't 1 in this case. It was 3. So we divide both of our factors by 3. Now if the factor divides evenly, let me scroll up here and get a little more room. Whoop, 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 whoop. Alright. So, you can see here that 6 over 3, that simplifies to 2. But 1 over 3, that doesn't simplify. And so that's where the name bottoms up comes in. If the bottom won't go away, it won't simplify, then you just bring it up into the factor. So, as the coefficient of that factor. So we'll have 3x plus 1 times x plus 2. Same result as grouping, maybe a little easier, a little faster. Now let's look at the other factor over here. So we'll have plus 3 over, I'll try a 2. Nothing's going to help me here. 2x squared. Okay, so nothing's helping me there. So I need to, they both have a 2 in common. So that's one thing I've got going for me. Let's look here. Both have a 2 in common, but that's it. So I'm going to bring this down here. So the first one, the first fraction, 3 over 2 times 3x plus 1 times x plus 2. What is that lacking? It's lacking this x squared. So I'm going to multiply by x squared over x squared. Now the second one, what is it missing? It's missing everything, or a lot of things. It needs to be multiplied by 3x plus 1 times x plus 2 over 3x plus 1 times x plus 2. So it's going to give me a 3x squared plus, let's multiply here. So this has already been multiplied out. It's right up here. No need to do it again. So I've got 3 times 3x squared. That gives me 9x squared. I have 3 times 7x. It's 21x. And 3 times 2. It's plus 6. All of that over 2x squared times 3x plus 1 times x plus 2. All that's left is to combine some like terms. see if there's anything we can factor out. So that gives us 12x squared plus 21x plus 6 over 2x squared times 3x plus 1 times x plus 2. I know that you're going to want to cancel out this x squared here and this x squared here, but you can't do that because that the numerator, you can't take an x squared out of every piece of that term. So, but they are, let's see, we could factor out a 3. That doesn't really help us. It looks to me like that's as simple as we can make it. We can factor the top if we want. We can factor out a 3. That would leave us with 4x squared plus 7x plus 2. But we can't factor that anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and call it and say that this is our simplified answer on number 19. Alright, let me scroll up. I'll do 20 real fast, hopefully, and then we'll move on to the last two in another video. Alright, so 3 over x plus 1. We need to multiply that by, wait a minute, we can factor this denominator. This is equal to 4 over 3 times x plus 1. So we don't have to multiply the x, or we do have to multiply the x plus 1, but only by 3 over 3. So what pieces do they have in common? Both of them have the x plus 1, but the second fraction has a 3 in the denominator and the first one doesn't. So that's what we multiply by to make them equivalent. And then that is we're subtracting 4 over 3 3 times x plus 1. So 3 times 3, that's 9. 9 over 3 times x plus 1 minus 4 over 3 times x plus 1. 9 minus 4 is 5, so 5 over 3 times x plus 1. Alright, one more video and we'll be done with this worksheet.